Aid agencies face a shakeout as the money for disasters fails to keep pace with the needs of millions hit by conflict and catastrophe, according to a crisis report this week from the world's most experienced and extensive humanitarian network. The World Disasters Report from the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies says agencies need to focus on the rights of disaster victims, guarantee the quality and sustainability of their work, and ensure they are accountable to those in need. The report predicts that the number of refugees and displaced people will almost double by the year 2000. It says that the recent boom in crisis aid may well be over, and it forecasts a massive food aid gap that will leave millions hungry. Examining agency responses to recent events, from floods in Asia to civil war in Europe and crises in Africa, the report says aid should be given in ways that involve disaster victims and rebuild their livelihoods. According to Peter Walker, the International Federation's Director of Disaster and Refugee Policy, the challenge for aid agencies in the rest of this decade is to develop universal standards of assistance for those in need.
Disaster victims have got a right to expect the best possible quality of service from relief agencies. We should really be a consumer-led industry, with disaster victims being our consumers. What have they got a right to expect, and are we delivering the best possible service to them?
And the International Federation's report urges governments to do more to tackle the causes of crisis and to give aid agencies the humanitarian space in which to help the millions of people affected by disasters every year.
Salam alaikum. Bien Javishi. Ne düştün Murat abi? Al kucağından falan. Bir şey yok. Kettin.
Gelin ya, şunu bırakmayın ha.
Nenda huko. Mwingine tena. Weka huko ndani mwingine. Hapana kumsiangalie kamera.
Simama hapo.
Ya.
الله عجل على الدوة يلا ورجع الله عجل على الدوة A gente fica até o
One is recording.
Aid agencies have got to start setting international standards for their work, standards which cut across all disasters and all countries. We've got to think in terms of the way we deliver assistance. We've got to think in terms of the amount of assistance we deliver. What has the victim got a right to expect? If we don't have standards, how can we be held accountable? What are we going to be held accountable against? One of the biggest obstacles relief agencies face nowadays is that disasters are becoming far more complex. The interaction of war with famine mean that security is much more difficult for refugees, for disaster victims and for aid agencies. Acting neutrally and impartially is now a real priority for aid agencies and becoming much more difficult to achieve. Humanitarian work is about addressing the effects of crisis, staunching the wounds, providing immediate assistance. We can do that better, we can become more service-oriented, we can guarantee a better quality of assistance, but at the same time we've got to lobby governments to take action on the causes of disasters. That's essentially political business. It's not the business humanitarian agencies can be directly involved in, but if we don't help governments become more innovative, use regional structures more wisely, then we're going to carry on year after year assisting the same disaster victims.